I have Josh Lowensteiner from Guyette and Deeter. Hi, Josh. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you today, Liz? It's good to see you.
Good. Good to see you. We were here. I was interviewing you. I think it was 2020. COVID hit. We couldn't get to the Southern, and we interviewed some of the vendors at the Southern. So I haven't, well, maybe I haven't seen you in like 3 years. So it's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry about
Yeah.
that. I'm glad to see you now, though.
I know, I know. And we won't see you at the Vintage Gunners Cup in September, but you are doing something special. You are going to be there. We're going to have things about Guyette and Deeter. So um let's come off from when I interviewed you before.
Yep.
So you were doing something else and now you're still doing that, but you're also added something else into your repertoire. So
Right.
what have you been up to?
Right. So I had a great. This just reminds me of a great quote I heard one time from Coach Lou Holtz. He said, "Your business is like a plant. You're either growing or dying, and there's no in between." And so times are changing, people are changing, business is changing, and so I'm continuously trying to evolve my business and get better and stronger and do different things and find things that work. And so. Lionstone Consulting, I'm still very active with that, still doing lots and lots of buying, selling, brokering, consigning, and selling via private treaty, as well as appraisal work and things like that, and consulting on collection building, as well as dissemination. But I've added an auction component to that in a new partnership that I've developed over the past year or so. With my friends and business partners at Guyette and Deeter. Guyette and Deeter is in St. Michael's, Maryland, and they've, for 40 years, been known as the world's leading auction company for collectible or investment grade duck decoys, sporting art, and folk art. And they've sold like over $250 million worth of collectible duck decoys, which is
Wow.
sounds crazy, right? But just
I
like
just
we
got
have
my first
passion for
duck
guns,
decoy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just like we have passion for guns, there are lots of people out there that have real passion for the art of handmade and hand painted collectible decoys. So we've entered into a new partnership which focuses on kind of the exact same type of material that I love and have expertise in, and sporting shotguns and sporting guns in general. And that's been great. So Guyette and Deeter and Lionstone Consulting joined forces about a year ago now to bring
Oh,
forth
nice.
what we're
Okay.
up to now. Yeah.
You said that you did have an auction with them so far and it went really well, and you have an
Yeah.
auction coming up again. Tell us more about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So our first auction together was February 4th of this year, and it was a great auction. We brought together a really great grouping of mostly high quality American sporting guns from a few different significant collections. So a lot of people who attend the Vintage Gunners Cup might remember Charlie Hunter. Charlie was from Virginia. His family was in the Coca-Cola bottling business. And Charlie was a great collector as well as a really avid duck hunter and bird hunter in general. He had a great collection of Parker shotguns, the kind of last of which we sold in that February auction. Long time and very well-known collector on the West Coast near Reno, Nevada was Alan Phillips. So Alan unfortunately has passed away since we sold his collection, but Alan called me and he said, "Josh, I've got to do something with my guns." And we put his collection in that auction as well. So it was very successful. I think we sort of stunned different parts of the American double barrel shotgun market because some of the prices were really extraordinarily strong, which we're proud of. A number of world records, which was great. Yeah,
Well, give
so
me
that
so Josh, not to interrupt you, but we should call this channel Liz Learns because I don't really know too much about guns. So tell me what would be like a record breaking? Like I don't explain that.
Yeah. So the highest priced gun in that auction was a Parker BHE, which would have been they had the A1 special, the double A, the A, and then the B. So that would have been the fourth grade from the top of the production level guns, the Invincible being the top. So the B would have been the fifth then. But a BHE 28 gauge that brought $126,000, which as far as I know, is a world record for a gun of that make
Okay.
and model.
Okay.
There was a Parker VHE, which would have been second from the bottom, 410 gauge, that was really like a very mint example. So in real estate, it's location, location, location. In guns, it's condition, condition, condition. And that gun brought 102,000. That was more than double the highest auction price for any
Wow.
V grade Parker that we know of.
Okay.
There was another VHE 28 gauge Parker that brought $90,000. Again, that was more than double a previous record. And
I
then the
wonder
list goes
if,
on. So we could,
I wonder if anybody's going to be shooting with those guns at the Vintage Gunners Cup. No, they want to keep it in
possibly,
condition.
possibly. That's sort of the interesting thing about all of this is that like the people that are buying this material, they love it and they appreciate the art form, but they will, even at that really high levels, most or many of them will very sparingly use them
Yeah.
for what they were intended for, and that is pretty cool. And I guess it's all like a matter of risk tolerance, right? Like I would be pretty nervous shooting $100,000 gun, even though I handle them pretty frequently. It would still make me nervous. But then there are other people who just it doesn't matter to them, and they're very comfortable with that, and that's okay. So
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess you have to think about if you're going to sell it or not. So, yeah, if I had a gun that I wanted to sell, why would I, I think you're probably the best person to answer this since you do retail and now you're in the auction
yeah,
industry. Like why would I choose to go with the auction route?
that's a great question. So I've been involved in the fine gun space as my full time career since 2013. I've been around this stuff since I was about 8 years old. And I've been a licensed auctioneer since 2019. So I active in the retail space. I'm a licensed auctioneer and I understand that model and that method of marketing. And now I'm partnered with an auction company. And I really do think, some people think like, well, I would never sell a gun at retail. You always need to use an auction. Or I would never use an auction. I would only use retail. And I think that is a foolish approach. There are certain things, whether they are cattle, horses, real estate, or guns, fine guns, that lend themselves to a particular method of marketing. And the auction method of marketing can work well for some assets, and retail can work well for some assets, and some crossover. Now, I think when you're evaluating whether or not to sell at retail or to sell at an auction, you need to think about obviously there's expenses associated with either. So expenses are an important part of it. And then what's your potential return, right? So when most of us sell, we want to sell and get the most money that we can for our things. Some assets like cattle bring a certain price. They don't generally outperform in an auction. They're a commodity item. Some guns are commodity items. They bring a certain price and that's it, right? So there are guns that are very frequently traded. They're not that rare. They're not that desirable. They're relatively easy to source. There's very low likelihood that they will outperform in an auction. The auction method of marketing can be more expensive than just hiring a dealer to sell an item for you. And if you have a certain item that is going to bring a certain price, regardless of what day of the week you offer it on or what type of method of marketing you choose, you might be better off to sell it in a lower cost venue or a lower cost method of marketing, so retail environment. If you have an item that is more rare, more desirable, more likely to be met with a number of people wanting it when it comes to hitting the market, the auction method of marketing, like I said, can be more expensive, but you have a much greater opportunity for outperformance. So if you think the gun is worth, let's just say $10, but it is a very high demand item, it's something that people will covet, it's something that people might get emotionally involved in and charged with, and they might pay $13 for it or $15 for it, and you can overcome the additional expense associated with the auction method of marketing, then you're absolutely better off to choose that method of marketing. So in my mind, the assets that do the best or the guns that do the best in an auction are the ones that have the potential for outperformance. And those are generally going to be more desirable, more rare, more unusual, and things that are harder to price. Now, if you're dealing with an estate situation or some other sort of forced liquidation, if you will, and not many of our clients are in that position, as you know, Liz, but it's kind of a forced liquidation where you need you need money on a certain day. You have to have money on a certain day. The auction method of marketing works well for that, regardless of the asset. At retail, I always like to think like at retail, you control the price, which is great, but the market tells you when it's going to sell.
Yeah.
Okay. At auction, the market controls the price, but you know when you're going to get paid. So, that's just like, that's another difference in the two methods of marketing. And it depends on your need to sell, your desire to sell, and the type of material you're selling.
Well, and certainly people can reach out to you and talk to you, and you will give them your honest opinion, I'm sure, about whether, the gun will do, or the product will do well in the auction, or maybe the retail side.
Yeah.
I just bought a pair of guns at an auction, and I wasn't there for it, but my husband Sean was, and he said it was pretty exciting. So that's another part of an auction. It can be.
An auction can be really exciting. It forces you as a buyer to make up your mind in a short period of time, right? So you have to say, okay, I'm willing to pay this, and I'm willing to pay this between now and 10 seconds from now, or 30 seconds from now. And that can be exciting. That can get your blood pressure up.
I think we got a good deal. Who knows? It was all exciting.
That's good. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another thing too. A lot of people will shy away from.
We were buying.
Yeah, but buying at auction is exciting. You have the validation of pricing, right? So that if I was willing to pay $10 and the auctioneer got another bid of $9, I didn't substantially overpay. Somebody else was right behind me. So you have public price validation. So now it's fun. You have public price validation, but more importantly, there's always an opportunity for a bargain in an auction. Every auction has bargains. Like, as much as I'd love to go to an auction and say, hey, that 28 gauge pair of Purdy's brought, a quarter or half of what they were worth, and I bought them and doubled my money. Well, if you go to an auction, that's probably not going to happen. Sometimes at a household auction, it's the lawnmower that sold for $12 that should have brought $50. And then another time, it is a pair of Purdy's that maybe was worth $100,000 that only sold for $80,000. And so there always is an opportunity for a bargain at an auction, and that's why buyers go there. Yeah. So they're great material, and there's always an opportunity for a bargain.
Yeah. And I even went ahead of time and, kind of brought them up and fitted them, and they fit fine. So that was nice to go ahead if you live near it. So I know that you have an auction coming up right after the Vintage Gunners Cup, and that's why you can't be there this year. But you will have a presence there. But tell us what, if someone is coming to the Vintage Gunners and they want to then come to this auction, what would they do?
Yeah, so we're really excited about our auction, which is Monday and Tuesday, September 11th and 12th. Sunday the 10th is our preview day in St. Michael's, Maryland, and the auction is also in St. Michael's, Maryland. So at the Vintage Gunners Cup, we're excited. We're going to be sort of making a virtual presence and sponsoring a cocktail hour. And we'll have some material there around the auction, promoting the auction. And we really hope that folks will make the short drive from the Harrisburg area down to St. Michael's, even if it's Saturday evening, and come hang out with us on Sunday. Our offices are open all day Sunday for preview. So do just like what you said, Liz, which is come, try the gun, play with it a little bit, not try it, like shoot it, but like handle it, make sure that it's everything you hope it would be, that it fits you well and it feels good. And that's open all day Sunday. And then we have our own cocktail hour and preview cocktail hour, as well as appetizers Sunday evening. So that's sort of like a nice social gathering where the folks who are there will come, they'll talk about guns and look at guns together, and then in a very relaxed environment. So the auction then starts on Monday morning and Tuesday morning, both at 10 a.m. And you can bid in person, you can bid on the phone, you can leave absentee bids, you can bid on our website, and then there's a bunch of online venues, live auctioneers, proxy bid, like and others that you can bid on for our auction as well. So, we really hope that folks will enjoy the Vintage Gunners Cup, be part of the cocktail hour that we're sponsoring, and have a great time there. And then Saturday evening or Sunday morning, like I said, make the short drive down to St. Michael's, which is a fabulous town if you haven't been there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're extending your vacation. Why not? Go somewhere, beautiful.
Yeah, the Eastern Shore of Maryland should be beautiful that time of year. It really should.
Oh, absolutely.
So, our offices are in the town of St. Michael's, which is a great little historic town right on the water. Lots of great seafood and restaurants and all sorts of things. Very near the town of Easton, which is a former spot for the Vintage Cup or Vintage Gunners Cup, years ago, and many folks will be familiar with that near Pintail Point. So, we're excited for it, and sad that we won't physically be at the Vintage Gunners Cup this year, right. But excited to be a part of it and to support it and to see it grow and blossom and become all that it really can be.
Yeah. And this year, like you said, you're going to be sponsoring the cocktail party, and that's going to be on Friday night. And we're going to have the awards. So the top gun, the top shooter in the different categories. The awards will be given out on Friday at that cocktail party. So there will be a lot of people there, and we'll be pushing your auction, your catalog. Is there a way, though, if someone can't see the catalog in person, how could they see it then virtual?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there's several different ways. We have, and I don't know what the exact number is, but like several thousand of those getting mailed out this week, which is the week of August 14th. So they'll be hitting mailboxes later this week. Online, it's available as a flip book. And that's a link that we can send or post as part of this video. Yeah. It's also going to be available later on this week at bid.guyetteanddeeter.com. And on bid.guyetteanddeeter.com is where the flip book is great, because you can check it out. The bid.guyetteanddeeter.com, you can actually leave bids and mark favorites and things like that. So that's much more useful or interactive spot to go to. And then the auction catalog will also be, like I said, on Live Auctioneers and on Invaluable and on Proxy Bid. So people can use any of those other platform websites to see what's in the auction and hopefully pick out a couple of things that they can't live without.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I couldn't live without my pair of Ariettas. So
that's good.
Yeah. I'll have to take a look. Not that I need any more guns, but you just never know. You never know.
You know what we always say? Do you know how many you have?
I have 7.
Okay. Well, if you know how many you have, then you don't have enough.
Oh, okay. Sean has 2. Sean has 2. So I think he wants more. Yes. So is there anything we missed with Guyette and Deeter? Is there anything else you'd like to say about the new company you're with?
Yeah. So, I think that with Guyette and Deeter, we're taking a slightly different approach to the marketplace. There are a number of really extraordinary auctioneers around the country that do a great job with firearms. And they're big and they do a good job and they have good reputations. And we're not in any way looking to create that. What we're trying to create is something different. So with Guyette and Deeter being as significant as they are in the decoy world, the folk art world, and the sporting art world, bringing sporting guns into that fold is a natural fit. I mean, John and I have been in a lot of the same houses since I've been in this business officially for the last 10 years anyway. So it's sort of like, well, why aren't we doing this together? Our focus is going to be intensely on high quality sporting guns. And in that, I would say, like, because I'm sort of favoring them, sporting shotguns, right? Mm-hmm. So that's just more about what I was born and raised around and what I love myself and that sort of thing. So it's not to say that we don't love a great rifle, bolt rifle, double rifle, whatever it is, but like if you left me to my own devices, I'd have a room full of sporting shotguns. So, but our focus is intensely on the sporting gun market and celebrating sort of all that is the sporting life. So in this next auction, when you look through the catalog, you'll see there are some great pieces of original advertising. There's, 50 or 75 beautiful original duck decoys. There's, 400 guns. There's and there are things from, 6-figure investment quality sporting shotguns and rifles to things that people would use, really great newer Brownings or great newer English guns and things like that people will use. So, and it really runs the gambit. But our focus, again, sort of intensely sporting focused. You definitely won't open one of our catalogs and find a vast selection of Civil War things. Not that they aren't great. We love those too, but that's just not where we'll probably be. You won't open our catalog and see a vast number of machine guns. Not that they aren't great. We don't love those too, but that's just not where we're going to be. So again, that sort of narrow, kind of inch wide, mile deep kind of thing. And over time, we hope to become kind of the preferred auction partner of choice for folks who want to sell high quality sporting arms.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense, to have a niche like that. Mm-hmm. And especially, so I have to ask, and I ask a lot of the people that I talk to, what do you like best about a double gun? Since this is the double gun, competition that's coming up. You have a side-by-side? I
have several side-by-sides. So, one of the things that sort of intrigues me about some of this stuff is that, like, my dad is and has been a passionate Lefevre collector for 35 years or more. And it's an art form that in many ways, much of which, no matter how much money you have, you can't have it made in this country anymore. Not to say that there aren't people building double barrel shotguns here, but some of the handwork that was done on some of these things 90 years ago, 120 years ago, you can't source that anymore. It's gone. The lines, the mechanics are interesting. The engineering is interesting. And then ultimately the finishing touches that went into some of this. I mean, if you look at some of the engraving and some of the fit and finish on, sort of best quality American doubles from the golden age, you can't have that made anymore. Right? Like, no matter how much money you have, you can't find somebody to make you a set of Damascus barrels. that really, that doesn't exist in this country. So, to my knowledge. So I think, to me, that's sort of fascinating. And I don't know. I just think it's a sort of a neat art form. It's cool that I get to work in it commercially, but I also do appreciate the art form.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for spending some time. I'm glad that we got to catch up since I last saw you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been quite a 3 years. Well, I'm glad that you're going to be, Guyette and Deeter is going to be a part of the Vintage Gunners. I'm sad that I won't be able to see you in person, but I'm really hoping that your auction goes well. And I think people need to get there. I mean, it's so close. It is. I mean, we have people coming from California, Texas, and you're here already. Just, extend the stay and
yeah. It's a natural fit, right? I mean, it's like, Saturday evening, the Vintage Gunners Cup will finish up. I think it's 2 to 2.5 hours from the Harrisburg area down to St. Michael's. Come on down. You can stay in Easton. There are other places to stay near St. Michael's if you'd like. And we would love to have you at the preview day on Sunday, participate in the auction on Monday and Tuesday. So it's a natural extension. It's a great opportunity to really see where the market is for a lot of these things, because we've got such a vast array of great American doubles and great English and great European and double rifles. And, so it really will tell you kind of where the auction market is. For so much of the material that will be also for sale at retail at the Vintage Gunners Cup.
Yes. Yep. Well, wonderful. Thanks so much, Josh.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep in touch, and I will have all of the ways to connect with you connected to this video. So
great. Thank you.
All right. Well, good to see you. Have a great rest of your summer.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.